So ESPN puts out this top 10 cornerback ranking. Behind the Steel Curtain writes about Joey Porter Jr. being left off the list, and I know the first instinct for a lot of Steelers fans is to go straight to the disrespect card. I get why people want to do that. Because Joey is one of ours, he is young, he plays with attitude, he can line up across from real receivers, and when you watch him on Sundays, you can see why the Steelers believe they found a long-term CB1. But this is one of those conversations where you have to separate being a fan from being realistic. This ranking was not made by some random dude who hates Pittsburgh. This was not Bengals Twitter putting together a list to annoy Steelers fans. This was based on NFL executives, coaches, scouts, and people around the league who literally evaluate players for a living. Those people do not have a real reason to wake up and be biased against Joey Porter Jr. If anything, front offices usually respect young corners because everybody in the league is trying to find them. Long corners who can play man coverage, challenge the line of scrimmage, and take on tough assignments do not grow on trees. So if people around the league still have him outside the top 10, I do not think the takeaway should automatically be that the entire NFL is sleeping on him. The takeaway should be that the league probably sees him as a really good young corner, maybe close to that top 10 conversation, but not clearly inside it yet. And honestly, when you look at the names on the list, it is not some crazy disrespectful group. Pat Surtain, Derek Stingley, Sauce Gardner, Trent McDuffie, Christian Gonzalez, Denzel Ward, J.C. Horn, Devin Witherspoon, Quinion Mitchell, Cooper DeJean. Whatever order you want to put them in, there are real players there. You can argue with one or two. You can say Porter should be over this guy or that guy. You can say the Steelers ask him to do harder things than some of those corners. That is fair. But acting like the list is a joke because Joey is not on it is where I think people lose the plot. The list is debatable, but it is not ridiculous. There is a difference between saying a player was snubbed and saying a player is right on the border. Joey is more in that border conversation right now. That is not an insult. That is just where he is in the league hierarchy. He has the traits, he has the size, he has the mentality. He has already shown he can be trusted with real assignments, but top 10 in the NFL is a nasty room to walk into. That is not just good starter territory. That is where guys have all-pro cases, playoff moments, bigger ball production, stronger reputations, and sometimes multiple years of proof stacked on top of each other. And this is why I do not want to do the lazy version of the argument. The lazy version is just yelling that everybody hates the Steelers, everybody is wrong, and Porter should be ranked wherever we personally want him ranked. That might get people fired up for 30 seconds, but it does not really explain the situation. The better conversation is that Porter is close, Porter is respected, but Porter is not so established that the entire league has to bow down and put him in the top 5 already. That line is important. He is not a nobody. He is not being dismissed. He is not some average corner living off a last name. He is a legitimate young player with a huge future. But when the room is full of corners who have already made more plays, carried bigger reputations, or proven it longer, you cannot act like the voters committed some football crime. By keeping him as an honorable mention, Joey has a case to be discussed, but he is not at the point where leaving him out automatically makes the whole ranking fraudulent. And that matters for how you talk about his contract. Because if the same league that studies him, game plans against him, and has no emotional Steelers attachment, still does not view him as an undisputed top 10 corner, then the Steelers would be foolish to negotiate like he is already a top 3 corner. That does not mean disrespect him. That does not mean lowball him. That does not mean act like he is replaceable. It just means the price has to match the actual perception around the league, not the most emotional version of the fanbase argument. Now, to be clear, none of this means Joey Porter is average, overrated, or some guy the Steelers should be scared to pay. I am not saying that at all. I think Joey is a great player, and I would have zero problem with the Steelers paying him like a very good starting corner. If the number is somewhere around $25 million a year, I can live with that. Honestly, for a young corner with his frame, his confidence, his man coverage profile, and the way Pittsburgh uses him, $25 million feels reasonable in today's NFL. Corners get paid, premium positions get paid, young players with upside get paid before they completely explode, because that is how teams protect themselves from the price getting even worse later. So this is not some do not pay Joey argument. It is more of a do not let the negotiation get stupid argument, because yes, the numbers in coverage are strong. The article points out that he allowed a lower passer rating than basically everybody on that list except Derek Stingley, and his catch rate over expected was excellent. That stuff absolutely helps his case. It shows quarterbacks are not just completing easy throws on him. It shows he can make windows tighter, timing harder, and receivers uncomfortable. That is exactly why I am saying he deserves real money, but rankings and contracts are not built off one or two coverage stats alone. NFL executives are looking at the full picture. They are looking at penalties. They are looking at ball production. They are looking at whether you can travel every week against the best guys in football. They are looking at whether you are just sticky in coverage or whether you are flipping games with turnovers. They are looking at technique, discipline, consistency, versatility, and how much stress you remove from the rest of the defense. That quote from the NFC defensive coach is a big compliment because when a coach says Joey can take stress off a pass defense and handle tough man assignments, that tells you people in the league respect what he brings. But respect is not the same thing as a blank check. Being a respected young corner and being the kind of corner who resets the market are two different conversations. And that is where Steelers fans have to be honest. Joey can cover, but the true top of the market corners usually have something extra attached to their name. Pat Surtain has the universal reputation. Derek Stingley has elite ball production and lockdown traits. Sauce had the instant superstar label. McDuffie has the championship resume and the versatility. Some of these guys have all-pro buzz, playoff moments, more takeaways, or a wider league-wide perception that they already sit in that elite tier. That does not mean every single one is untouchable or that Porter could never pass them. Of course he can. That is the whole point with a young player like this. The ceiling is still exciting, and if he cleans up the small stuff, keeps developing, and starts adding more splash plays to the coverage resume, then a year from now, this conversation could sound completely different. But the Steelers cannot pay the future version before the future version has actually arrived. You reward the player in front of you while still protecting the team from paying for a projection that has not fully cashed yet. Joey is close enough to talk about, but he is not so far above the debate that the Steelers should just hand him $30 million a year and call it a day. If you are debating whether somebody is top 10, that is already a sign he should not be paid. Like he is top 3. That is the entire point. You do not pay top 3 money for a player the league is still arguing about as a top 10 guy. $25 million, absolutely, that is a serious offer for a serious player. 26, 27 if the structure is clean and the guarantees make sense. Okay, now we can have that conversation. But once the number starts creeping toward 30, that is where I think Pittsburgh has to slow down and make sure they are paying for what he is right now, not just what they hope he becomes. And honestly, this ranking might end up helping the Steelers more than people realize because contract negotiations are not just about what the player wants or what the team wants. They are about leverage. They are about perception. They are about what comparable players have done, what the league thinks of you, and how easy it is for your agent to walk into the building and say, my guy is one of the best corners in football, pay him like it. Well, this list makes that harder. If Joey's camp comes in asking for $30 million a year, the Steelers can point to the league conversation and say, hold up, the same executives, scouts, and coaches who evaluate this position did not even put you as an undisputed top 10 corner. Again, that does not mean he is not really good. It does not mean the Steelers should play games with him. It just gives Pittsburgh a reasonable argument to keep the number closer to 25, maybe 27 at the absolute most, instead of letting the deal climb into Pat Surtain territory. And that is where I think people get caught up emotionally, because Steelers fans hear Joey Porter Jr. left off the top 10 and they want to turn it into a disrespect video immediately. But from a business standpoint, this is actually useful. If the league views him as a high-end young corner but not a no-doubt superstar yet, then the Steelers have to treat the contract that way. You pay him well, you show him respect, you lock up a young player at a premium position before the market gets even crazier, but you do not pay him like the best corner in football just because he might become that down the road. That is how teams get themselves in trouble. You cannot build a roster by paying every good young player as if the absolute best case version already happened. Pittsburgh already has major money tied into key spots, and they are going to have more decisions coming. If you give Joey 30 or 31 million a year, that deal does not live in a vacuum. It affects how you build the secondary, how you pay the trenches, how you handle future extensions, and how much flexibility you have when the roster needs help somewhere else. That is why the number matters so much. 25 million says we believe in you, we respect you, and we are paying you as a high-level starting corner. 27 million says we are pushing close to elite money because we think the upside is worth it. 30 million says you are already one of the top 2 or 3 corners in football, and I do not think that is where the league has him right now. And to me, that is not being negative. That is actually how a smart organization should handle a player it likes. You can believe in Joey, and still have a ceiling on the contract. You can think he is part of the future and still refuse to let one negotiation throw off the rest of the roster. You can say he is one of the most important young players on this defense and still admit that the league has not crowned him yet. Those things can all be true at the same time. Maybe he proves it this year. Maybe he forces everybody to put him in that group. I would love that. I want Joey to become that guy. I want him to make this entire conversation look conservative 12 months from now. But contracts are not supposed to be built off hope and vibes. They are built off proof, leverage, production, and market value. Right now, the proof says he is very good. The upside says he could be great. The league perception says he is not clearly top 10 yet. So the smartest Steelers angle is not Joey got robbed. The smarter angle is NFL executives may have just helped Pittsburgh at the negotiation table. Because if he is not an undisputed top 10 corner, then he should not be getting undisputed top 3 corner money. Pay him, keep him, respect him, but do not let the fan base turn a very good young player into a $30 million obligation before he has fully earned that tier.